So I heard somebody say the other day, if hard work pays off, then show me a rich donkey. And it actually made me laugh a bit, but then when I really thought about it, there was actually some truth to that statement. So when I looked around, when I thought about those of us who are actually trying to go out and chase our goals and chase our dreams, we're told to subscribe to the hustle culture, to work 80 hours a week. Now, I'm not trying to say that action is bad. It's a part of the process. You can't spell law of attraction without action. But what I'm trying to say is that if we purely and solely rely on action alone, then we're missing out on a big part of the equation. We don't realize that much of life's magic actually happens when we take a step back and to allow the universe to unfold in its own way. And there's this quote from St. Augustine which really opened my eyes on this, and it goes, "Pray as if everything depends on God, and work as if everything depends on you." And I think that is the missing key. That is the missing half. That is the yin to the yang. And this is why everybody's feeling stressed out and burnt out when trying to pursue their dreams and goals. And that's why they end up giving up. Because we're told to only hustle and work, but we're missing out on the other half of the equation. But what if, like the great philosophers and spiritual teachers suggest, what if we instead surrender and let go and allow ourselves to flow with the universe, to flow with the universal current instead of trying to swim against it? Can we work hard while not swimming against the current, but work hard while swimming in universal flow and harmony with the universe? How will that look like? Is that possible? And I believe that's what this quote means, to pray as if everything depends on God and work as if everything depends on you. The praying as if everything depends on God is where you balance action with rest, where you balance control with surrender, where you balance structure with flow. And that is when the journey towards your goal becomes a bit more fun. It becomes a bit more playful. You're less rigid. And when you're less rigid, when you allow yourself to surrender, when you detach, and when you surrender to the flow of the universe, you're actually making space for God of the universe to work miracles in your life. And by miracles, I mean ways and means and paths to unfold which you couldn't have not conceptualized in your logical mind. Bridges of incidents and paths and doorways will open which you would not have been able to conceptualize because you are not able to see the greater picture. But then only through surrendering and allowing yourself to detach and to pray, to allow the universe to work its magic, to know that once you set an intention and you're working diligently towards it, that things can unfold and will unfold in possibly ways that you couldn't even imagine. Having that faith that it is already coming to you, then that is how you flow with the universe and allow miracles to happen in your life. This book, Think and Grow Rich, that this is one of the most popular success books of all time. It actually says in the chapter of imagination, it says, if you are one of those who believe that hard work and honesty alone will bring riches, perish that thought. What? It is not true. Riches, when they come in huge quantities, are never the result of hard work. Riches come, if they come at all, in response to definite demands based upon the application of definite principles and not by chance or luck. Now, what does he mean by based on the application of definite principles? Well, this book is big on the whole notion of law of attraction and manifestation and using your imagination. It talks about the feeling, because that's all the law of attraction and manifestation talks about. It talks about the feeling of your desire, to embody that state that you already have what you want, and then after that you act accordingly. And I do believe that all of these things that revolve around feeling and intuition and imagination, I feel like these things are the feminine aspect, the yin that is missing to the yang. So the yang is all about the action and going out into the world and hustling, right? And the yin aspect of it is the prayer, it is the intuition, it is the feeling side of it, which needs to be integrated for there to be balance. That is the balance of the yin and yang. And so what does it look like to balance the yin, to balance the feminine, to balance this intuitive side of prayer and visualization within you? Now, my coach actually said this really powerful quote, which absolutely just blew my mind. So my coach said, stepping into the divine feminine is affecting change without exerting force. And that is crazy, to affect change without exerting force. How do we do that? We do this through that other half of the equation which I was talking about, which is prayer. because the action is the force part of it, but then the prayer part of it is to affect the change without exerting force, without exerting force in the physical world, physical force and physical actions in the physical world. We can affect change in the physical world also without the physical action. And how do we do this? It's through imagination. It's through the prayer. It's through the feeling aspect of it. It's through the application of the law of attraction and manifestation and the secret. So you may be asking, okay, so cool, how do I go about this in my own life? Now I want to turn to Neville Goddard to answer this question. So Neville Goddard says in the book Prayer, the Art of Believing, he says, to pray successfully, you must have clearly defined objectives. You must know what you want before you can ask for it. You must know what you want before you can feel that you have it. And prayer is the feeling of the fulfilled desire. It doesn't matter what it is you seek in prayer, or where it is, or whom it concerns. You have nothing to do but to convince yourself of the truth of that which you desire to see manifested. So that first step is defining what it is that you want. So it's sort of like when you're ordering something on Amazon, right? You have to be specific about what you want. Or for example, when it's like you're tuning into a radio station. So if you've ever been in those old cars with those dials, to tune into the radio station, you have to get on the exact frequency of the radio station to hear what the radio station is sharing. And it's the exact same thing with your manifestation. It's the exact same thing with your prayer. You need to be really clear and very specific, very definite on what it is that you actually want. So what do I mean by definite? By definite, I mean complete alignment to the reality. So what does it feel like? What does it look like? What is the version of you who has achieved what you want to achieve? What do they do on a daily basis? How do they act? What are their characteristics? When do they wake up? What do they read? What are their habits? What's their schedule? And for your goal, what you want to achieve, you have to be definite on that too. Like, where do you want to live? How much money do you want to make? What do you want to do for a living? And you can write all of these things down. You can literally create your life. It's like a catalog. It's like you're sending God of the universe a catalog of what you want. So once you have that, once you have it defined, then the next part of it, as Neville Goddard says, is the faith aspect of it, is the faith and the prayer aspect of it. Then you may be thinking, what do you mean by prayer? Do I just set aside some time and then pray to God and ask for these things? And I think that's a good question. I don't think we've really been taught how to properly pray. And I want to read out a segment from the book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. And he says, you cannot impress the mind of God by having a special Sabbath day to set apart to tell him what you want, and then forgetting him during the rest of the week. You cannot impress him by having special hours to go into your closet and pray, if you then dismiss the matter from your mind until the hour of prayer comes again. You do not need a sweet hour of prayer, but then what you do need, you need to pray without ceasing. And by prayer I mean holding steadily to your vision, with the purpose to cause its creation into solid form, and the faith that you are doing so. Believe that ye receive them. So that's a very different perspective and explanation of what prayer actually is. And it's probably different to what we were taught, because we were probably taught to pray, on the Sabbath day or at a certain hour and then call it a day, all right? But then what this is saying, and what the law of attraction and what the manifestation space and what the secret, they're all trying to say, is that prayer is a state of mind. It is a state of being that you hold on to throughout the day. You have to embody this version of you. That's why Neville Goddard says that the first step to prayer is to actually define what it is that you want, to clarify what it is that you want. Because once you clarify that, that is the vision that you have to hold in your mind, and you have to embody that version of you. You have to embody that version of you who has already achieved what you want to achieve, and to act as if you are already that person. And that is the highest form of prayer. The highest form of prayer is to believe in the vision that you cannot see right now in the outer world, and act accordingly as if it is already there. That is the whole notion of believe and you will receive. And how this will serve you and how this will look like on your journey is that obviously when you go on your journey, you're going to feel fears, you're going to feel self-doubts, and you're going to be wondering, does this stuff even work? Does the law of attraction and manifestation even work? Is my goal actually coming to me? But I feel like the highest form of prayer, I'll give you an analogy. It's as if watching a movie that you've already watched before and you already know the ending. So sometimes when you rewatch a movie that you really like, for me it's like Lord of the Rings. I love Lord of the Rings, but every single time I watch it, I'm still on the edge of my seat, hoping like, oh my god, I hope Frodo makes it to that mountain and chucks the ring into the fire. Hopefully I didn't spoil the movie for any of you guys. But anyway, I'm still engaged throughout the whole movie. But then I have this deep sense of knowing in the back of my mind that I already know the ending. I already know what happens. And I feel like it's the exact same thing here with our goals and our dreams. We need to have that sense of knowing that we've already taken a peek behind the curtain and know how the movie ends. We know how the movie ends, and you know how we know? It's because we are the directors. We've already directed it when we clarified where we want to go and who we want to become. And once we've believed in it and we've made the action plan towards it and we're moving towards it, we are going to get there, and we believe in it, we embody it, and that's how we know. It's a knowing. You have to know that you are going to get there. And it is a bit of a leap of faith, but then that's just how it goes. And hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.